Rising at home, Tiffany Henyard went on the road. It was a public relations tour meant to combat her critics. It wound up raising more questions than it answered, and once again.
Overall, Tiffany Henyard comes across as rather conceited and doesn't seem to give a damn as long as she's making money. However, the Dolton and Thornton trustees are fed up with her antics and will not let her get away with them. With tense board meetings scheduled, they have vowed to uncover her secrets and put her away for good. So for some time now, Tiffany Henyard has been under fire, and it appears that things have finally gotten out of hand. Trustees have accused her of mismanaging village funds, and residents are outraged. In response, Tiffany has accused M of harassing her and playing political games. It's a mess, and we're here to explain it. The villagers want her to sell the expensive SUVs she's been using for her security detail because they're too expensive for the village. They are also tired of Henyard sticking her nose in her own mouth, accusing the villagers of being harassed and engaging in political games. Keith Freeman, a township, is an additional piece to this puzzle. Whistleblower employee, residents want him to stay on the job, but Henyard says she fired him. The details are unclear, but it's obvious that Freeman is receiving support from people who view him as a key player in exposing the corruption. Henyard, on the other hand, is making every effort to put distance between money, and many people are blaming the Henyard trustees for it. The trustees have been rather outspoken in their statements. Money is one of the biggest issues the trustees face. Henyard has been embezzling money using what they refer to as a shell game. That's correct, a shell game. And to be honest, that's just a neat way of expressing that she's been moving money about inefficient events. The trustees even decided not to grant thousands of dollars, although, as you can imagine, who needs permission when you're Tiffany Henyard? Guess what? She had already spent all that money.
Extraordinary amount of money was spent unnecessarily.
Voting against approving thousands of dollars worth of expenses for Taste of Thornton and funds from previous Henry events that have already been used. Discuss the taxpayer-funded party that Tiffany threw. But before you do, buckle up, because it cost the villager an astounding $85,000. I know, but for that type of money, taxpayers got what kind of lavish event? Apparently, Kiki Wyatt just turned up and played for 30 minutes? It was just the typical midday kids event with food vendors. It wasn't exactly a blowout worthy of the price tag. In addition, rapper Jay Holiday, who earned $30,000 for his performance, received $220,000 for a second. Is this? Only about 65 to 70 individuals attended this lavish celebration, according to the trustees, so even with all that money invested, it was a complete bust. Yes, people, an $85,000 taxpayer-funded party attended by fewer than 70 people is quite the waste.
I believe that Henyard is a narcissist.
Certain trustees firmly think that Henyard is a narcissist, and it appears that they are correct. Henyard is demonstrating to her how her corruption is finally catching up with her and how she is about to fall. Genuine colors, and the trustees are correct based on what we have observed thus far. It's clear that Henyard feels pressured because she has been acting of letting it all hang out. Tiffany has started engaging in full-fledged yelling altercations with trustees during township meetings, accusing them of, with so much proof against her, you would think she would back off a little. But instead, she's ramping up the drama and initiating a smear campaign.
Happening tonight, community concerns in Thornton Township and a push to regulate what some call out-of-control spending by Township Supervisor and Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard. NBC5's Lexi Suter has more on tonight's showdown between trustees and Henyard.
Good evening. There were many tense moments in tonight's meeting. At times, Supervisor Tiffany Henyard took on her fellow trustees when it came to money and expenses, even accusing some of them of spreading lies about her.
Please tell me how you're out of order. You're out of order. How do they operate, trustees?
They functioned. There were innumerable exchanges akin to this, with heightened voices and intense discussions concerning expenditure and the absence of a new budget. Henyard claims to have cleared the township's finances. However, a number of the trustees have expressed doubts about the township's spending.
Y'all thought that I was young. dumb, didn't know nothing, was gonna let y'all come and manipulate me. I didn't do any of that. So because I didn't do any of that, you guys started this.
Tiffany became upset and went on a lengthy tirade, accusing the township trustees of harboring hatred in their hearts after they had voted to cancel some of her scheduled events. While the trustees were voting against her personally, not the events, because obviously everything is about Tiffany, she stated that the trustees were against her for not wanting to fund her opulent gatherings.
3-hour meeting, Supervisor Henyard demanded Finance Director Robert Hunt read through more than 100 line items that many trustees wanted to get rid of. For example, thousands of dollars to Amazon.
$169.99.
Thousands of dollars of cakes for community events.
102 Calumet Bakery.
And tens of thousands of dollars that were allegedly allocated for the one-day event, the Taste of Thornton Township.
We just had a couple events here in the past, month or so, that just extraordinary amount of money was spent unnecessarily.
As for upcoming events, the trustees voted to stop a few, including House Fest and Gospel Fest. Henyard accused the trustees of acting out of spite.
And right now, you guys are operating with hatred in your hearts. You're operating out of feelings. You're not operating with things that's going on, and I don't think that's fair to us. And I don't understand why it's a problem when we got a surplus in Thornton Township thanks to Supervisor Tiffany.
Things get even more juicy at this point. Tiffany says she has truly improved the township's financial situation, but everyone can see through her bold claims. In addition, Tiffany accuses the trustees of being against her, claiming that none of the prior. The supervisor's events were canceled, but she's deliberately ignoring the fact that her events have been nothing more than failures despite spending more money and being more extravagant than those of any of her predecessors.
And with another contentious meeting involving Tiffany Henyard.
Tonight, it involves her role as Thornton Township Supervisor. The Board of Trustees voting to cancel upcoming township events, despite Henyard's vote in favor of Gospel Fest, House Fest, Bingo, all failed to pass. The tech-savvy event failed at first, but trustees then approved it with a limited budget. Henyard telling the board their votes were not about the community, but about her.
Because them residents love the events that we do here at Thornton Township. And prior to me, y'all have always had events. So I don't understand why it's a problem now that Tiffany Henyard is the supervisor when it wasn't a problem when Frank Zuccarelli was the supervisor.
Now, in her supervisory report, Henyard says she turned the township's financial situation around, claiming it had multi-million-dollar deficits in 2022 when she arrived. Now the township has a surplus totaling $9.7 million.
At one point, things became so heated on a township board that Tiffany and her security guard had to calm down a rowdy audience. You can almost sense the tension in the air when watching these clips because the folks are finished with her, angry.
We're on the cusp to celebrate Juneteenth. We come to a meeting here, and instead of us being professional, we're carrying on this matter. It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to the we teach our young people about being respectful. We teach them about being respectful. And we come to a meeting and we see disrupt. We see disrupt. But not only do we see disrupt, we see individuals that have an agenda. They have an agenda. And the agenda is based on what's happening in Dolton.
Tiffany, however, still does not understand that when the trustees convened a special township meeting to obtain answers about everything, she didn't even take it seriously. Bravery to label the entire situation as clickbait. Her village's finances and future are at stake, yet she is behaving as though this is some kind of internet drama.
We're on the cusp to celebrate Juneteenth. We come to a meeting here, and instead of us being professional, we're carrying on this matter. It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to the teach our young people about being respected. We teach them about being respected. And we come to a meeting and we see disrupt. We see disrupt. But not only do we see disrupt, we see individuals that have an agenda. They have an agenda. And the agenda is based on what's happening in Dolton. It's about what's happening in Dolton. This has nothing to do with Thornton Township.
Not to mention that the FBI is still pursuing her because of Shell Games' authorized funding, lavish parties, and her use of village finances for personal advantage. This is far from a done story. So will Tiffany eventually face the music, or will it continue? We'll have to wait and see if residents are left to clean up the remnants of her mess. That's all for now. Please remember to leave your thoughts in the comments section below for further information. Press the bell icon.